Hey, welcome back to 65 Drums. My name's Justin. Today I'm giving my first impressions on the Simmons Titan 50. Just a heads up, this time Simmons didn't actually send me a kit to do the review, so this won't be an in-depth, long-term review. Instead, it'll be more of a first impressions video after getting a chance to play one in a store. Now, I'm pretty sure this drum set was developed from the ground up to be a competitor against the Alesis Nitro Mesh, which has been the low-budget king for years at this point. So the Titan is basically trying to do all the exact same things the Nitro does, but also one-up it at the same time. So the question is the Titan 50 a good budget option, or should you go with the Alesis Nitro Mesh instead? That's what I'll try to answer in today's video. But first, today's video is brought to you by EdrumCenter.com. If you're in the market for a new or used electronic drum set, use my link in the description below to save $25 off your next order of over $100. It's a great drum store based in the United States, and they really know their stuff. So check them out today with the link below. Okay, let's start off with the sizes. The kick drum is just large enough for double bass drum beaters at 5 inches across. The snare drum is 10 inches, and the 3 toms are all 8 inches across. The hi-hat, crash, and ride are all 10 inches across, and everything is sitting on a metal drum rack with plastic joints. Also, a kick drum pedal and sticks are included in the box, so all you need to get going is a drum throne and a pair of headphones. Now moving over to the drum module, there's 187 sounds organized into 25 preset kits, plus 10 user kits. On the back of the module, you get right and left master outs. This is to plug into speakers. There's 5-pin MIDI out, USB, 1/8 inch aux in, and of course a headphone jack on the side. There's also 2 extra pad inputs for future expansion. Simmons sells an $80 bundle that gives you tom number 4 and crash 2. And of course, you can try your luck with other third-party components, which may or may not work with this module. Okay, so that's your basic rundown of the specs. Now let's move ahead into strengths and weaknesses, starting off with the stuff that I liked about the drum set. So first of all, the setup is pretty easy because the drum rack comes pre-built. I care about this personally because I've had to put together so many drum racks while making these videos on the channel that I've just become sick of doing it. This saves you time. My favorite thing about the drum set though is the quality of the built-in sounds. According to Simmons, they didn't just copy and paste this from some sort of sound library. They specifically went out and recorded new sounds, new samples for this module. The sounds were fun, punchy, and also there was quite a few different editing controls, including compression, which I don't really see on beginner drum sets. Now, of course, going back home and listening back to playing examples and videos, I can pick apart the different flaws. It does still have machine gunning and stuff like that. Just keep in mind, the entire drum set costs $380, at least as of the filming of today's video. So that means there will be limitations on what the module can do in the first place. It was a lot more fun to play than the Alesis Nitro built-in sounds and other beginner competitor electronic drum modules. Also, Simmons is trying an interesting strategy by end of year. Instead of having just 24 regular quality kits inside of the module, soon you'll have the option of downloading one high quality kit into the module instead and overwriting them. This isn't brand new though. This is a strategy that Pearl tried with the Pearl ePro Live back in the day, and I think Alesis did it with the DM10 as well. This is a great option that Simmons has enabled regardless of how many people go for it. There's also a pretty good app for this drum module called the Simmons Drum App 2. There's actually a few other apps inside of the Apple App Store. Don't use those with the Titan line because they're not compatible to my knowledge. This new app is built from the ground up to work with this drum set. It's a nice way to cycle through the different kinds of drum kits and edit everything. I like how they show the actual sample names as well. So instead of something generic like rock kick drum number 3, they'll say something like 14x24 Ludwig maple kick drum or 19-inch Zildjian thin crash. There's also independent controls for panning, pitch, decay, and reverb for every single zone. There's also a practice section and a trigger settings menu where you can dial in every single individual pad. I'm pretty sure you can make all the different kinds of adjustments inside of the app or inside of the module, but it just makes it easier when you can use your phone. I'm also happy to see yet another company finally enable audio recording over USB instead of just MIDI. All you have to do is plug a USB cable from the module into your computer, open up your DAW, and you're ready to go. There's also Bluetooth audio and Bluetooth MIDI. Again, it's one of those things that really should be industry standard by now, but it's somehow not. When it comes to sizes, it's all pretty good. The larger size of the snare drum, it's 10 inches across versus the average like 8-inch snare around this price, really makes the playing experience more fun. It's also nice that the kick drum is just wide enough for double beaters, and it also includes a kick drum pedal in the box and a kick drum patch to protect the foam playing surface. Okay, so now let's move ahead to the weaknesses of this drum set. The first thing that I noticed when I sat down to play this is that, yet again with another beginner electronic drum set, the drum rack is not as tall as I hoped it would be. As you can see from this camera angle right here, my knee is higher than the actual snare drum. Now in fairness, there was still a little bit of room to raise up everything on the drum rack, but I couldn't do that because I didn't have a drum key. It would still be a little bit too short for me with the drum throne all the way maxed out. Now thankfully, there is an easy solution to all this. If I were to buy this drum set, I would also go buy a cheap snare stand off Amazon. And then I would put the snare drum pad on the snare stand that I just bought so I could independently raise it up as high as I want. Now this won't be a problem for everybody, especially if you're buying this for your kid or your teenager, or if you're below 6 foot tall. But for me, it was worth mentioning. I should probably also mention something about the rims. If you raise up the rubber rim guard, you'll notice that the actual rim underneath is made of plastic. I did double check this against this competition, the Alesis Nitro, and same thing over there. There's a plastic rim underneath the rubber rim guard. It seems to be one of those little areas where budget electronic drums skimp on in order to keep the price low. You'll probably also notice that there's no Android version of the module app, which is kind of a bummer. I've actually talked to an electronic drum company about this before, not Simmons, but a different company, and I was told that the reason why they don't make an app version for both iOS and Android is that it's too expensive to make an app for both platforms. And according to their analytics or whatever, they figured out that most of their customers have iPhones instead of Android phones, so it made sense for them to only make a version for that one app store. I'm not telling you that I agree with this kind of reasoning, I'm just telling you that's what I've been told. Also, I don't like that the ride cymbal is dual zone, not triple zone. So that means the bell is actually on the edge of the cymbal instead of up top where the bell actually should be. It's a weird muscle memory thing that I'm just not used to. And then finally, let's talk about durability. I don't really know how long this drum set can be expected to last. It's just impossible to tell because the drum set is too new. The module, the pads, it's all different from what they've made before. But my gut is telling me, don't buy this drum set with the intention of passing it on to your grandchildren. It's not that kind of drum set. If you go the Simmons route or even the Alesis route, think of it more as a short to medium term purchase. It's great for people that are on a budget. It's great as a stepping stone to better kits later on. Just don't plan on this being your forever drum set. Next up, let's talk about stores that actually sell this thing. So it turns out Simmons is actually a house brand, essentially, of Guitar Center holdings. So that means you can only buy it from stores on screen right now. Stores like Guitar Center, Musician's Friend, stores like that. Basically anyone that's owned by Guitar Center. Walmart is kind of one of these special cases because they partnered with them. So if you buy from walmart.com, it's actually going to be shipped to you from Musician's Friend, which is owned by Guitar Center. So at the end of the day, if I had to buy this one or the Alesis Nitro, which one would I pick up? For me personally, if they were the exact same price tag, and there's no way to know because every single day they change in price all the time. But if they were the same price and I had to choose between the two, I would pick up this Simmons drum set. Basically because it has the largest snare drum, which is important to me. It also has the better module that sounds nicer and has Bluetooth connectivity. I'm not saying this drum set is perfect. At the end of the day, a used electronic drum set is actually my go-to recommendation for people dipping their toes in the water of electronic drums. But if you need something brand new and you want a mesh electronic drum set, in my opinion, this is the best beginner mesh electronic drum set at the price that they're currently charging. Everything I'm saying really depends on the pricing the day that you're watching this video. Right now, this drum set is the one that I would buy, but it depends on when you're watching this video. Go check the prices of this drum set and the competition and make the best choice for yourself and your situation. And that's the video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I really, really appreciate it. If you want to support 65 Drums, consider joining the Patreon and get your lovely name here at the end of every single video. Or use my affiliate link to EdrumCenter.com in the description below and support the channel that way. See you in a few.